Here we are on a Sunday morning, out for another run with Samantha. Way off in the distance is the dam, and just poking over the dam is what is probably downtown Des Moines, or at least a building. So we're pretty much on the south end of the lake, maybe 2.5 miles from the campsite. Sam is doing a little extra over there, and I'm heading back up the hill at this boat ramp. We ran on the Neal Smith trail until we got to about half a mile up ahead where the trail parallels a road, which didn't look very exciting. So we turned and came down here to the lake. And now I got to figure out how to get back. I'm 2.5 miles into it. Did a little bit before getting on the trail officially to take some trash to a dumpster. So should be probably just under 5 to get back to the trailer. And it's Sunday the 29th of September, the last day of the season, baseball season, except the Mets and Atlanta have a 2-game doubleheader tomorrow on Monday, the only game scheduled, because they're still vying for the playoffs, and that game or those games were canceled earlier, so they have to make them up. And it may be meaningful, at least one game, the first game. This is the Cherry Glen campground above the boat launch area. It looks pretty full, but people are packing up. It's Sunday, so a lot of people who just came up for the weekend will be leaving today, including a couple of our neighbors. This has got a little bit more trees than where we are, so it's nice. It doesn't appear to be as level, which is always a concern. Here we are back where we decided not to follow this trail and instead went down the hill to the boat ramp. Now I'm starting to make my way back to our camp through this picnic area, a couple of shelters here. This park is really nice, and it's not a state park, I guess. So the Corps of Engineers maintains it now, and they do a fantastic job, as I said yesterday. Okay, so I've just hit 3 miles, made my way across the day use area. Now getting back on the Neal Smith Trail. It's 26 miles long. Runs along the east side of Saylorville Lake, all the way down to Des Moines. And we're right smack in the middle of it at about mile 14 right now. Days like this, when it's clear, no clouds, cool, not hot yet. I think it got up to 80 yesterday. But it'd be nice to have a bicycle to cover a little more ground. So I've been thinking about how would that work. What kind of a, what do you call it, rack would I need? I've heard horror stories about people mounting things on their trailer bumper, and it's not built to support much more, I think, than the weight of the spare tire, if that. And so I might have to do something in the bed of the truck that spans the bed, if we somehow can find bicycles. But the trail is a little rolling right through here. Saw some little kids on those tiny little bicycles that tiny little kids have, and they needed a push to get up these hills. Then their parents were very concerned when they were blazing back down the backside of it, going too fast in their opinion. But the kids seemed to like it. We've seen about 4 runners so far meeting us. So I guess a little use. 1 bike, that's it. Coming up on mile 14 3/4. I think the campsite is 15 plus, or 16 actually. And somewhere along here, I saw a bunch of walnuts on the ground. Because it is that time of year. Knowing Sam, she'll want to collect some. But as I recall, we were doing that as a kid in big burlap bags. They're pretty nasty when they've ripened and fallen off the tree. Till you get off the shell or the husk of the nut and then do something with that. So I'll show you in a minute. So we're coming into the area where I said there were some walnuts. I think I'll take 1 back just to try to convince her that we don't want to mess with it. As you can see, they stain the path pretty well when they land on it and ripen, but there's a significant amount here on the side of the trail. And it's not too far from the road, so who knows? I see coming back here in my future. Most of this trail has been pretty well shaded by trees, about to come out to a more open area behind this subdivision. And they've planted a bunch of trees up here, but they're still small. I think here's another walnut tree. I think that's what the leaves look like. And there's a few on the ground. More than a few. And we're not far from that shaded area where I was just at. Still haven't seen Samantha. She kept running through the boat ramp parking lot, which is huge. She did 1 loop of that before I got down there, and then headed that way again, and to me appeared to keep going when she got to the end of the parking lot, about a 1/4 mile away, maybe not even, but I hope she's not lost. Second bike. So I'm back to one of the campgrounds, not ours. I think this is the, I don't know, the B or C one. It's got 132 and counting sites. This is the shortcut back. The sign for the trail had us turn right and loop all the way around to where I just came out. And I don't know why, because this online app I have called All Trails had the trail taking the shorter route instead of going all the way around the loop to turn left and come up. Alright, so back there was the D loop, the Dogbane loop. We're at 15.5 miles. And again, we're in the Astor Loop, the A Loop, so a couple more campgrounds to go through. This is probably C. Coneflower Loop is what it is. Lots of these yellow flowers and these other plants that are seen better days. They've already dropped their leaves. But these are still going strong. We'll have to ask Amy what they are. Walking past the entrance to the Blazing Star Loop, which somehow has 30 plus sites back in there. Means I'm almost back to the entrance to ours. I'm just at 4.25 miles, so I won't get 5, and I'm okay with that. There's a guy we don't like, showing off, running. What are people thinking? That's what I need. Be a camp host somewhere and get a little golf cart. Heading back in. Hopefully I won't have to go back out as a search party for Samantha. I'm only at 4.5, so she wanted to get 6 in today. So it looks like our neighbors have packed up and left. Nick and Laura and their dog Larry, a big 2-year-old goofy golden retriever who just wants to play with everybody that is having all the fun, and he hates being tied up where you can't join in the festivities. So they're on their way. It looks like the folks across the street in these pop-ups are packing up. So in a little bit we'll have this whole section to ourselves. We're here until tomorrow. Have to decide how to get to where we're going, whether detour through the Field of Dreams, which is a little bit north of where we're going to stay at an alpaca farm just in the other side of the Mississippi in Illinois. More to follow. Cheers.